Elderly and disaster. Prevention. Disasters are considered as hurricane, ice storms, earthquakes, fires, flood, and so on. The prevention process requires intensive research. The emergency personnel, local and state officials, and government must plan prior to a disaster. This helps reduce a delay in the response and recovery time after the disaster. Elderly people must be educated about the appropriate steps that they need to take during and after a disaster. Preparedness. Once the elderly is informed of the proper precaution and evacuation process, they must now get themselves prepared. Due to their vulnerability after a disaster, they can relocate to a shelter where they can be monitored and receive proper care during and after the disaster. The elderly individuals with special needs, bedridden elders need to be in a safe place where medical help is accessible. Communication after a disaster is typically interrupted, and the elderly would have no way to reach someone if help is needed. There should be a mobile evacuation transportation available to elderly people prior to a known disaster. Response and recovery. The recovery process can be as critical as the preparedness process. Emergency personnel are responsible for returning the community back to its normal activities. The elderly will need immediate help during the recovery process. They can be placed in intimate, dangerous conditions due to the weather climate. Mitigation. Mitigation is the effort to reduce the loss of life and property by lessening the impact of a disaster. Mitigation can be done by providing ongoing training for government and emergency personnel. A hazard analyst can be created to help reduce the natural hazard effects. Elderly people are a major part of why mitigation should be developed prior to a disaster to help save their lives. The Elderly and Disaster by Erica West.